very habitable man.
The false. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream. Change has come to America.
Believe it.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Let's introduce the candidates. Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz and Ohio's Republican Senator J.D. Vance tonight meeting for the first time.
First of all, let's start with the hurricane, because it's an unbelievable, unspeakable human tragedy. I'm sure Governor Walz joins me in saying our hearts go out to those innocent people, our prayers go out to them, and we want as robust and aggressive as a federal response as we can get.
Senator Vance has said that there's a climate problem in the past. Donald Trump called it a hoax, and then joked that these things would make more beachfront property to be able to invest in.
We have a historic immigration crisis because Kamala Harris started and said that she wanted to undo all of Donald Trump's border policies.
This is what happens when you don't want to solve it. You demonize it. And we saw this. And Senator Vance, and it surprises me on this, talking about and saying, I will create stories to bring attention to this. That vilified a large number of people who were here legally in the community of Springfield.
The people that I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio, are the American citizens who have had their lives destroyed by Kamala Harris's open border. It is a disgrace, Tim. And I actually think, I agree with you. I think you want to solve this problem, but I don't think that Kamala Harris does. Margaret, the rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check. And since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The CBP app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut.
But as I read the Minnesota law that you signed into law, the statute that you signed into law, it says that a doctor who presides over an abortion where the baby survives, the doctor is under no obligation to provide life-saving care to a baby who survives a botched late-term abortion. That is, I think, whether you're pro-choice or pro-abortion, that is fundamentally barbaric.
These are women's decisions to make about their health care decisions, and the physicians who know best when they need to do this. Trying to distort the way a law is written to try and make a point, that's not it at all.
What was I wrong about, Governor? Please tell me, what was I wrong about?
That is not the way the law is written. Well, I think all the parents watching tonight, this is your biggest nightmare. Look, I got a 17-year-old, and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball. Those things don't leave you. I 100% believe that Senator Vance hates it when these kids, it's abhorrent and it breaks your heart. I agree with that. But that's not far enough when we know there are things that worked.
Tim, first of all, I didn't know that your 17-year-old witnessed a shooting. And I'm sorry about that, and I hope that you're doing okay. So. Christ have mercy.
January 6th was not Facebook ads. This was a threat to our democracy in a way that we had not seen. And it manifested itself because of Donald Trump's inability to say. He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer. Kamala Harris is bringing us a new way forward. She's bringing us a politics of joy. She's bringing real solutions for the middle class, and she's centering you at the heart of that.
We have the greatest country, the most beautiful country, the most incredible people anywhere in the world. But they're not going to be able to achieve their full dreams with the broken leadership that we have in Washington. And whether you vote for me or vote for Tim Walz, I just want to say I'm so proud to be doing this, and I'm rooting for you. God bless you, and good night.
Oh, for God's sake.
You've been hit by a smooth criminal. Dun, 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 dun. That's all I could think of. I mean, the lies were delivered much more smoothly, much more easily, which is much more dangerous if you think about it. I mean, he's running the J.D. Vance guy. There was a fact check and a half. I mean, the fact check on this has to be at least 57, 60 pages. And that's just what people like me and Joy Reid and others who were watching this for the purpose of reporting out to you how it went. That's just our notes, okay? Let me just briefly go through that little debate in 3-minute clip that we just played right there, okay? The people in Springfield, their lives aren't ruined. They don't think their lives have been ruined by the presence of hardworking, church-going, Haitian legal immigrants who are here under temporary protected status, meaning their country is a hellhole, they can't go back, and they are allowed to stay and work here. And that is what they're doing in Springfield, and they are revitalizing Springfield. I say send them to Portsmouth, too. Oh, God, you want to see people lose their minds? Send them to Portsmouth, Ohio, in Scioto County, where a white girl like me was run out of town. Yeah, because I was way too different for them, way too different. So I had to be run out of town. I was also run out of Mississippi and various other southern states, just so you know. But, I mean, the people in Springfield are thrilled. They're happy. They just were asking for a little money, a little relief for hospitals, more beds, because you have more people. And he cares so much about preserving life, you would think he would be all about sending money to Springfield, the state that he is a senator of, so that they could have more hospital beds, considering more people. Same thing with schools. They were asking for, additional money for schools, for more teachers, for more the ability to open up more classrooms. And yes, they need interpreters because Creole is not regularly spoken in Ohio. Brooklyn isn't either. I got news for you. Half of them didn't understand what I was saying 99.9% of the time. I had to actually adopt an accent so that they could, reach me, so that I could reach them. You know what I mean? Okay. The other little detail there is so disgusting. It's so disgraceful. I mean, here you have this smarmy, highly educated Yaley with a law degree, for God's sake, and he's insinuating to the governor of the state of Minnesota that he signed a law that would allow for murder, that would allow for the murder of infants, that would allow for infanticide, which, by the way, everybody is already illegal. And the way the statute was written prior to the Tim Walz gubernatorial, takeover of this, they love Minnesota because it's very white, very, very white. And so, according to Donald Trump's latest rantings and ravings, I hope you missed a whole bunch of it because I'm not even going to play it. It was so unhinged. It was so mentally empty. He's gone. I hate to tell you, the 78-year-old man is gone. Okay, so before Tim Walz came to be the governor of Minnesota, they had a law that prevented infanticide. And they still have the same law that prevents infanticide. The only change in the law and the way that the statute is written is that prior to Tim Walz being the governor and prior to Minnesota being subject to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, okay, they had to rewrite protections for pregnant people in Minnesota so that they could continue to tend to their pregnancies in the manner in which they have become accustomed, meaning if you have a non-viable pregnancy and it is making you septic, or you have a non-viable pregnancy and it's going to cause you to lose your uterus and this child, okay? They intervene still, even though they overturned Roe v. Wade, because Minnesota has a law that preserves the life of the mother, that preserves her ability to try again. So anyway, the only change in the law, I don't even want to get deep into it because these are the icky parts that people like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, A, don't know about, and B, don't want us to talk about. There was a word change in the legislation. The legislation still recognizes any fetus that is born alive as a person, which means murder if you harm it, if you cause it to lose its life. Murder, you get it? But the old law said you must preserve, meaning excessive, extensive, emergent. Even I don't want that, okay? I don't want extreme intervention. So now it says to care for, not preserve, care for the life. This is what he's talking about. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to RandiRhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.